Hi, welcome to bVerse or bVerse.org. I'm going to log in and give you a quick tour. This is the home screen. The home screen always shows you the most recent verse that you've added. It also shows you a randomly selected verse from all of your verses. And you can always see that by going to the Home tab. If you click on the All tab, it will show you all the verses that you've ever entered. And you can sort those in various ways by the reference or by the date that they were entered, up and down. You can go to the Mark tab. Now the Mark tab is important because it shows you all of the verses that you have marked. That's what this little red dot is. For example, if I go back to the All tab and I click see Genesis 1:26 here, if I click in that little circle, then I have just marked that verse. That's why it's red. If I go to the Mark tab, now Genesis 1:26 is in my list of marked verses. The next tab over is called Flash. It will provide you the ability to basically do like a flashcard test or a verse card test of all of your verses that you have marked. So you've got, you can see that I have 8 verses marked. This is the first one, and Genesis 1:26 is there because you just saw me mark that one. And I'll go through. Now this one is green because the green one is always the most recent one. And as I have that one marked, as you can see from this red dot, it also shows up in this flash test. It goes through and then gets to the beginning, gets to the end, and goes back to the beginning. Now, some people would find helpful if you click over here on Hide R, which would hide the reference, or you can click on Hide V, which hides the verse. Let's show the reference. Now when you go through, all you're going to see is the reference, so that you can try on your own to recite the verse without seeing it in front of you. If you have any trouble, you just click on Show, and it'll show it, or you click on it again. You can toggle in any verse you ever see. You can always toggle those on and off. The next tab over is the Add tab. This is where you add the verses, obviously. You could just select the book, chapter, put verses in. You can put a dash in between verses if it's a range. You enter the verse text here, select the version. You can go ahead and mark it for review here, or just leave it blank, and you can mark it later by clicking those little white circles I showed you. Add the date. If you'd like to, you can also add a topic. So let's add Genesis 1:1. I'll just type it in here. In the beginning, let me spell it right, God created the heavens and the earth. We'll say that's NIV. I'll mark it for review. It's already assuming today's date, but just for fun we'll put in yesterday's date. In fact, all I can have to say there is yesterday, and it'll figure it out. And then I'll say for my topic, which usually I don't put in a topic, but for the sake of showing you, I'll put in creation. And I'll hit submit. Okay, as you can see, it says you've just added this verse. You can see the verse. The topic is down here, and it has the text, the reference, it says the version, and the date that we said. We said yesterday, so it went ahead and put in yesterday's date. Whenever you add a verse, it will always bring up a new verse form. Now let's say that I misspelled something there, or that I want to delete this verse. You can always click on the version or the date. See how a little tag comes up that says click to edit verse? Just do that, and an edit verse form comes up. I can change the date, I can change anything I want to, or I can click here on delete verse, and I can go ahead and delete it. Then I'll go back home. Now my most recent verse is not Genesis 1:1 anymore, it's Matthew 28:28. I'll show you a couple other things which are helpful. If you go to the search button, there are 3 ways that you can search all your verses. A keyword search, you can put in anything you want to there. You can put in love, and it's just going to search for the word love anywhere in all of your verses, and it came up with quite a few, including one that I have marked for review. I could even put in NASB, so it'll bring up obviously all of the verses that are NASB version. Another way I can search is just by book. So if I go to one that probably doesn't have very many, like 1 Samuel. So 1 Samuel, I found 2 verses. You can choose to put a chapter in when you're searching by book, or you can just search for the whole book. Or you can do a topic search, and that's just going to bring up any topics for any verses you've already put in. If I go and select prayer, several verses come up, whether its topic was intercessory prayer or prayer. Again, I don't use the topic a whole lot. For people who use the Navigator's topical memory system, you can put that in if that helps you. Then there's the list, which I just clicked on. What that does is brings up a quick list of all your verses. Now what you're seeing here is just the beginning of the verse and the reference, organized, or it's ordered by Bible reference, as you can see. We end with some Revelation verses. This is just helpful if you're trying to see maybe how many verses you have in certain books. If you want to read through it real quick, and just seeing the beginning of the verse helps. Just click on any of those verses that you see, and it'll take you to the verse card. You can click to edit. If I click go back, you can mark it if you want to. So sometimes that could be helpful if you go to the list. The help link is obvious, and I hope that this has been helpful.